Who is ready to learn? Everybody's ready to learn?
Yes.
A lot. You don't need to. You know it by heart, probably.
The rumor is we don't need to.
The woman. Okay, it's gonna be short in the Chumash. Okay. So welcome everyone, and we are starting this week. First of all, we are the class before Shavuot, and being that we are before Shavuot, it's important for us to discuss some relating Shavuot matters, and at the same time, we will also talk an insight into the Parsha, which is very, very much related to Shavuot. So the book that we are starting to read of the Chumash, of the 5 books of Moses, this Shabbat is going to be the book of Bamidbar. Bamidbar is in English titled the Book of Numbers. And the reason that it's titled the Book of Numbers is truly because we are having numerous numbers in this Parsha. Matter of fact, the Parsha begins, the Torah portion begins with accounting. And this is what it reads. Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe b'midbar Sinai. Hashem spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, be'oel moed, in the tent of meeting, is where God speaks to him. This is the location. When does he speak to him? Be'echad lachodesh hasheni, b'shana hashenit, letzeitam mi'eretz Mitzrayim. On the first of the second month, in the second year after their exodus from the land of Egypt. So the location is the tent of meeting, which is in the wilderness of Sinai. The time is exactly 1 year and a half a month, 1 year and 2 weeks after they left Egypt. And who is God speaking to? He's speaking to Moshe. And what does he ask him? He says, Leimor, he says, Se'u, take a census. And as we're going to see soon, the requirement is not only for Moshe, that's why the word Se'u is Lashon Rabim in the plural, because God is going to ask the following job to be done by Moses and his brother Aaron. And what is the commandment? Se'u et rosh kol adat bnei Israel, take a census of the entire assembly of the children of Israel, le mishpechoisam, according to their families. Meaning, I want you to know, I want you to bring me a census of the number of people which are of each and every one of the tribes. This means according to their families. Each family should be an exact number of their members. Leveis avoisam, according to their father's household. Meaning that if we are counting tribes, there were 12 tribes, so sometimes he can have a boy from the tribe of Reuven who married a girl from the tribe of Shimon, and they have a child. So which tribe are you considering that child from to be? Says the Torah, this is going to be according to their father's household. This is the idea that lineage, this is the source actually, in the Torah, that lineage goes according to father. Race goes according to mother. The mother will define your status of if you're Jewish or not, but your father will decide of what lineage you are. And it goes on, b'mispar shemos, according to the number of their names, Kol Zochor, every male legulgoloisam. I'm going to their head count. And the way the head count was that they weren't counting the people individually, rather each one brought a coin called a shekel or half a shekel, and that's how they were counted. The age of counting, Torah says, starts from the age of 20. This is the age that they are capable to join the army. And then he concludes, Tifkedu oisom lesivoisom, you should count them. Who should count them? And here he mentions, who do I want to be the ones taking the census? Ata veya Aaron. I want you and Aaron. Imagine. Usually, when it comes to take a census, we refer to the retired community and we say, we need your help. Since you like to walk around anyway and visit all kinds of locations and take pictures of all kinds of interesting phenomena. So what about if we can use your help to take a census, which is very important to figure out the demographics and the financial assistance and support and security for our community. And then the next thing you know, somebody knocks on your door, usually is over the age of retirement, with a bunch of papers in his hands, and he's asking you all kinds of questions, trying to figure out what's going on for the purpose of census. And there were a very large retired community in the desert. There wasn't much to do there if you weren't busy learning. And Moses and Aaron, you can imagine how busy and preoccupied they were. Moses was being the leader and the rebbe of the entire big congregation of the millions. Aaron, the priest, the Kohen. Nevertheless, God says, no. You're going to walk around, schlep yourself from tent to tent, from place to place, from location to location, and you're going to write down the numbers of how many people exist in each one of the tribes. And what's going to happen if it's going to be too much for you? And you see that you can't make it. After all, Moshe and Aaron were also human beings, and it takes a lot out of them. You know, you can't schlep the census for many years. When God wants something, He wants us now. And there's no miracle aid over here. This has to happen naturally. So God gives them some assistance. Says the verse 4, Ve'itchem iyu. And together with you, you can have ish lamata, ish lamata. With you shall be one man from each tribe. Okay, so it's you and Aaron. Plus, from each tribe you can pick one man to assist you with the census. Again, who would you consider to be that man? The one who is good feeding, not like me, somebody who exercises every day, and is very upbeat and very energetic, and he is perfectly worked and made to run around from tent to tent and figure out how many people there are. Thank you. Says the Torah, no, let me tell you, by the way, who is this man? Ish roish lebeis avoisavhu. That man which I'm asking you to bring me is a man who is also the head, the leader of his father's household. I want the Nasi, the prince, the leader of each tribe. They are going to join you in taking that census. I guess this whole idea of taking a census belongs to the leadership, the top of each shevet of each tribe. And if you're going to perhaps consider leadership, maybe it's the head of the Kiddush club, also a leader. Or maybe it's the head of the bingo club. You know, there's all kinds of leadership. Says the Torah, no. Here's the names. And the names are being mentioned. Who is the leader for the tribe of Reuven, and who is for the tribe of Shimon. And we go through each and every single name which the Torah specifically considers them and again summarizes it later after finishing the listing of the names, comes again, verse 16, and said, these were the ones summoned by the assembly, the leaders of their fathers' tribes. They are the heads of Israel's thousands. Moses and Aaron took those men who had been designated by their names. And then they started making the census. These were the most important people. And obviously the big question that you think right away when you learn something like that, why? Why is it necessary to spend such great quality of seemingly something so simple than just taking a census? Today, it would have probably been a respond by email or by text messaging. No one would even bother to come knock on your door and ask and figure out. No one talks anymore. I'm wondering recently, imagine if the phenomenon of texting would have been 50 years ago. And speaking on the phone would have been a development of just recent time. How would it look? I think people would have started calling each other. Hi, I can talk to you. What's going on? Perfect to hear your voice. But unfortunately, we had telephone for all these years. How many years is the telephone old? About 100 years. Telephone. And text just came about, so everyone is, you know, I had this discussion yesterday. Somebody wanted to say Kaddish. And it's going back and forth and back and forth. And finally I said, whatever your name is, let's talk. Why don't we wasting so much time in our conversation? First of all, would be probably less than a minute. And it's the amount of questions that we're going, but no, it's like the common thing, like, is there a minyan tomorrow? Question. No, maybe there is. What about the day after tomorrow? What about my father's yortzeit is yesterday's? Can I say Kaddish? What do you make me sugar for? And God forbid if the response is not instant, that means that you're ignoring it. When he calls you and you speak, then you know that there is a, you know, if he is ignoring you or not. But anyway, comes to take a census, apparently it's the most, such an important concept, and the idea is such a novelty that we need to take and use. The resources are from the best and the choicest of our community to make sure that the census is being taken. Why? We also all know what Rashi says in the beginning of this Parsha, that this is not the first time that there is a census. We had a census which was taken while leaving Egypt, which is described in Exodus chapter 12. There is a census that was taken right after the golden calf, which is described in Exodus chapter 13. What happened now? Why is there a need for a census? So Rashi says something very interesting. Without explaining, he just tells us a fact. He says as follows. We left Egypt. God wanted to express how dear we are to his eyes, so he counted us. Okay? After the sin of the golden calf, God wanted to know how many were left, so he counted us. Now that he is just about to, he just finished building the Mishkan, the tabernacle, which was exactly a month ago, the first day of the first month, the first day of Nisan in the second year of the Exodus is when the Mishkan was established and erected. So now he says, oh, let me count you again. First of all, what is so special in counting that by counting me it shows that I am dear in your eyes? Second of all, why is it that God needs to figure out what's the balance after the golden calf? By counting us, if he can, I'm sure, figure it out without counting. And finally, what is the connection between building the Mishkan, the tabernacle, and having to know how many we are? Is this a configuration of what's the membership of the Mishkan going to be? You have to give a report to the board if there's an increase in membership or a decrease in membership. Try maybe to work harder, to enhance the membership. I mean, what are we talking about? It's not a membership club. It's a Chabad, it's an open door policy. That was the Mishkan. Everybody is welcome. So why do you keep a list? Counting and counting and counting. The Medrash says, when Hashem came to give the Torah, Sunday we're going to celebrate and recommemorate the anniversary of standing by Sinai, 3,330 years since the story of Sinai, 2,448, and now we are the year 5,778. Makes it 3,330 years. For all these years, David, Jews are eating cheesecake and ice cream on Shavuos. Can you imagine? So the Medrash says something very interesting. Imagine standing at Sinai, suddenly you hear a voice. We are missing a child, 8 years old, blue eyes, brown hair, wearing a colorful sweater, Gap pants, Nordstrom shirt. Can you imagine? This is the announcement which takes place at Sinai. God says, I am not giving the Torah until every single person is present there. No one was able to disappear this experience. Everybody had to be there. No one and no way would the revelation ever take place if not by having each and every single one participating. I told you once the story, which might be a joke, might be a story, but either way, it can definitely be true. So, I'm coming from a family, of many kids. At some point, we were 17 kids, the good old days. Now, man, not that much anymore. Lost a couple of sisters on the way till recently. So now we are 14. We were 17. Nice size mishpucha, right? And then imagine you have families like this in Jerusalem, a number of such families. And they have an uncle, lives in the States, married but never was blessed with children. And the uncle, who also was blessed with means, supports his nephews, sends money over to Israel, the family, his sister, to help her raise such a large family. One day the uncle thinks to himself, what am I doing? I'm sending so much support to my sister and her family. She has so many kids. Let me try to offer her if I can take one and adopt him. One of the 17 should be mine. Makes his way to Israel, sits down with his sister, and he says, my dear sister Sarah, look, I'm living a life I'm sending you all this support. You know that we don't have a child. Let me have one of yours. You have 17. Einer, one. I said, you know what? I agree, you deserve one. One of 17, not a problem. Let's line them up. And let you take a pick who you like. They line up the 17 kids like this by the wall, everybody dressed in their best, welcoming the uncle from America. And as they stand there and he takes a look, ooh, I like this one. Ashena Ingela, beautiful child, nice little payas. He looks like not a big troublemaker. He says, Sarah, I think this one I would like to take with me. She turns to her brother and she says, Yankel, I would gladly give you my little boychik over here. But from that one, I only have one. For that you have to leave me. That kind that you just choose, I only have one. I can give it to you. If I have one child, you take away my child. You're right, okay. That one also looks pretty good to me. Chaim, come. Chaimke looks like a chevreman, a good child, a little hyper, but it's going to be okay. Here, let me take him with me to America. Tells his sister, Chaim looks a good child to me. My dear brother, I would gladly give you Chaim. But how many Chaims do I have? I only have one little Chaim. And that's how she went to the list. This is not a community, a club of 17. General number of 17. This is 17 individuals that everyone counts on its own. What does the Talmud say? Adam was created as a single man. Every other creature to the 6 days of creation was created in a multitude. There was many lions and tigers. There wasn't one tiger. Once they popped out, dozens of them came out together. Everything was in masses, numbers. Came to Adam, one single man in an entire universe. So the Talmud makes an observation about it. How comes that you keep on giving me a plentitude of everything, and when it comes to Adam, suddenly Echad ve'yachid, one and only, says the Talmud in Sanhedrin, Lefichach nivra Adam yechidi. That's why it was a man created singly, to teach you that by supporting one man, by sustaining one individual, you are sustaining an entire world. And by destroying one individual, God forbid, you are destroying an entire world. A person is not one of our own. A person is a full 100% entire world is that single person. That you express by the idea of counting. What happens when you count? When you count, you offer validity, significance to each one individually. Not only do you offer them validity, counting is not something that you can count differently one from another. Imagine a person who is 200 pounds and a person who is only 50 pounds. Does the 200-pound person get a different number than the 50-pound person? Du bist einer und du bist einer. You are a one and she is one. You can be very intellectual. You can have a person as smart as Einstein and as rich as Bill Gates and as stupid as who knows who and as poor as who knows who. And Bill Gates is going to be one number and the very poor person is going to be just one number as Bill Gates, and the garnished elf, nothing is going to help you by the fact that you are so wealthy. A number is just a number. The number does not go in the quantity. A number represents a qualitative value that no one can take away from you. Indispensable. Indispensable. And this is what happened when God took this out of Egypt. When we came out of Egypt, the idea was God wanted to establish what is the quality of this nation I just took out of Egypt. Their quality is that they are all being counted. Every single one of them individually is being counted. And by counting them, I am granting them that importance, or like I said, that validity, that uniqueness which each one of them possesses and deserves. There's a famous story, I'm sure you heard the story from me before, it's always good to repeat it again. There was a great rabbi in the city of Prague with the name of Rabbi Yonatan Eibshitz. He lived about 300 years ago. Great scholar, wrote many books in Talmud, in Kabbalah, in every area of Jewish literature. Rabbi Yonatan Eibshitz lived in a time, in a place, which he was challenged by the Christian government and rulers to respond to questions, perhaps debating ideas in Judaism. And there's all kinds of interesting stories about Rabbi Yonatan's meetings, so-called debates. One of them goes as follows. The one was Rabbi Yonatan called into the governor with a Talmudic question, so to speak. What was the question? The governor tells him, look, I studied your Torah and I learned a rule which is accepted by everyone, meaning it's a rule with no dispute. And the rule says as follows, that in a state of minority versus a majority, you should follow the majority. You know the rule? In the laws of judgment, that's the rule, right? You follow the majority opinion in order to establish a verdict. Not only that, in the laws of so-called prohibitions, we also adapt the same rule. For example, if you have a forbidden type of food which became mixed with a permissible food and you can't identify it, a little treif soup, non-kosher soup, fell in a beautiful pot of chicken soup, the Kavod Shabbos. You have someone helping you in the house, he's happened to be not Jewish, and she made herself a little soup, not a kosher soup. And next to that, you have the big pot that you are planning for Shabbos, chicken soup, you give it to guests, to friends. Lo and behold, the maid, by mistake, had spilled some of her non-kosher soup into the soup in the kosher pot. So we all know that there are rules which can determine that soup to remain kosher. Mainly, when you have 60 times the amount of kosher against the non-kosher, then it's kosher. That's a concept in Jewish law. It's called the nullification of a minority in a greater amount or in a majority. So here is which this bishop, I think it was, in the city of Prague is challenging Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz by saying, listen, you have to follow your own rules. The minority gets cancelled in the greater majority. The population of Prague is a majority of non-Jews, with a very small minority of Jews. So why do you keep to your traditions and to your laws? You have to become like one of us. This is ruled in your own Torah. Great logic, right? How would you respond? Jerry, you're a smart man. How would you respond?
I can't respond because
No.
I am a minority and I keep it.
That you're stubborn, I know. I'm asking you, how would you respond logically?
I am my own.
Okay. Shkoyach. The debate was lost.
One.
How would you respond?
Me?
Yeah, Mrs. Kamika. How would you respond? First of all, you have to agree. It's a good question or not?
Oh, it's a good question.
So what would you respond? Guys, if you doesn't respond, either you act like Jerry Guess, or you really gonna walk out from here somewhere else, God forbid. Let me quickly give you the answer. I'm getting nervous.
I can give you the answer.
Person counts.
What?
It is the majority of quality, not the majority of quantity.
You are a real racist. And I don't think you would be able to say it in the city of Prague 300 years ago. And even today, I wouldn't use it as an argument. I don't think it applies. What is that?
Truth which resides on which part of majority or minority?
What are you asking?
Truth.
Truth. What about peace?
Which part of resides in majority or minority?
You say that majority, minority is an objective call. I think in the laws of Judaism, maybe in soup you can say the same thing. You can have a majority of non-kosher soup falling in a minority of kosher, and you say, I disconsider you. You're not kosher. In my eyes, you don't even exist. And therefore, I'm going to eat a kosher soup. Would you say such an odd thing? You wouldn't say such a thing. Someone can use his logic and say, I don't count it as a majority. As far as I'm considered as truth is considered that non-kosher soup is not even soup. It doesn't even exist in my eyes. So who cares if it's a majority in quantity or not? It doesn't make a difference. I don't think we can work with such rationale in Jewish law. We got to have something rational. So let me tell you what the Rabbi Yonasan Eibshitz told him. He told his bishop, "Oh, you consider yourself such a great scholar in Jewish law, so you should know better. You know there is an exception to that rule of nullification. What's the exception? The exception goes in types of food which the way you purchase it is by counting them each one individually. Then it is considered of great significance and it can never be nullified. There is such a law. For example, in Jewish law talks about in those days, maybe today also, eggs. So you have a mixture of kosher eggs from a kosher bird mixed with eggs of a non-kosher bird. And you can't identify who's the eggs from. So here we don't apply that concept. Doesn't matter who is from. Let's see if there is at least, you know for a fact that you had a majority of kosher eggs, let it cancel the minority of the non-kosher ones. We don't say it. Why? Because eggs were sold by number, one egg at a time. And that represents a certain significance which doesn't allow the simple nullification. That's the concept of, in the words of our sages, in Hebrew, it's called davar shebeminyan lo batel. Something of importance as far as being counted does not turn to nullification, does not get nullified. In that case, Rabbi Yonatan turns to the bishop and says, you ever studied the Bible? You know there's a book called Numbers? You know what it talks about? It talks about the counting of the Jewish people. So now you know why God counted us? Not because he needs to know the balance, not what he's trying to print out a membership list. He counted us for this very reason, to give us that significance and importance which would not allow us ever to get cancelled or nullified in front of greater majorities. That's exactly why we were counted. You see, sometimes we count up certain things. We just want to get to a number. I want to know if I have 15 or I have 20. Do I have 100 or I have 200? This is the common way of counting. Not often do you count something just because I want to count it so I know that each one of those things were counted. Yes, if you have a few diamonds in your pocket and you know that you have about 5 of them, you could keep on counting them because they are precious and you don't want to lose them. So you go over it again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Goes by a half hour. Again, the OCD kicks in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. What are you counting? You just counted them. And you're not known to have to deal with this challenge of OCD. So why are you counting them? What happened? No, it's diamonds. It's important diamond. I like them. I want to make, just the very counting gives you some pleasure, some nachas. I remember as a child, and somehow my father had a bundle of cash, a bundle, whatever it was, $10, $100 bill, something. And it was left on the table. And I said, can I count it? Sure. I counted. And then I counted it again. And then I counted it again. It was fun to count it. What was the fun of counting it? Because we all understood that this is something which represents great value. Something valuable, you keep on counting. Comes this week's Parsha, and Hashem says, I'm going to send the best and the choicest of my people. I want the top of the top. I want Moses. I want Aaron. And if they need help, let them join with the leadership of each tribe, the head of the Nesiim. And I'm going to tell you the names so you don't confuse them with any other type of leaders. Because now what I am accomplishing and now what is being done in this counting is to ensure that each of you is counted as one, by that representing each one of you as the most important and only thing I have. That's the purpose of counting. You ever want to visit a farm? Each cow has a number. But it's mostly to know how many cows I have. Not because you want to give each cow its own number. You want to count them up. And they look the same. So by having on their back written the number 47, 37, 26, 5, so then you know that you don't mix them up and you can count them up properly. This is not what we are talking of here. We took it out of Egypt. God wanted to instill in us this idea. After the sin of the golden calf, the remaining Jews were in a complete loss. They just messed up so badly. After less than 2 months from the time the Torah was given, just a couple months after the Exodus, and already they went to worship an idol. You can imagine how discouraged they were, how lowly they felt. God says, I got to lift them up. It's not just a matter to know the balance. I'm going to lift them up. And how am I going to lift them up? Through what? Through counting. You remember what the Parsha of counting is called at the sin of the golden calf? What's the name of the Torah portion which discusses the sin of the golden calf? Ki tisa et rosh bnei Israel. What is ki tisa? Nesiat rosh. When you will count. But it's not just count. When you're going to lift them up. Because counting and lifting them shares the same common denominator. You elevate them through counting them. You say, you're important to me. You are one valid individual that I can't do without you. You all remember, I shared with you sometimes at birthdays, a line the Rebbe told a child who walked by the Rebbe giving the dollars on Sunday morning, and the child turns to the Rebbe and said, it's my birthday today. What did the Rebbe say? You know what a birthday means? God says, I need you. Now, you know what Yom Huledet means? Elokim omer, ani tzarich otcha. If not, why were you born? That's what a birthday is. I need you. It's not that you are replaceable with someone else. And now when the Mishkan is being built, again, who is going to deal with the Mishkan? Who is going to center on the Mishkan? The people. God says again, let me count you. This is the Bamidbar. And it's as important as we are standing now, just 72 hours before the holiday of Shavuot, celebrating the giving of the Torah. When it comes to give the Torah, the way the Torah was given to us, it says numerous expressions in the Torah as how the relationship from us to the Torah is. There is an expression in the Torah itself which refers to it as an inheritance. Imagine you inherit. You don't have to work hard to inherit something. You have to be born to the parents who leave you that inheritance. Torah, Tziva, Lanu, Moshe, Morasha, our inheritance, Keilat Yaakov, the congregation of Jacob. It's a gift, not just an inheritance. Matan Torah, God gave us a gift. There is Talmudic references which talks about the idea that God is selling us the Torah, so-called we purchased it from Him. There's all kinds of beautiful expressions which define different relationships between us and the Torah. But one of the most important ones is this idea that we just mentioned. Just like counting represents a certain love and recognition, or like I said, validity by counting us. The same thing is by the fact that God gave us the Torah. Giving us the Torah is the greatest validation of us as a people. Vayedaber Hashem el Moshe, Daber al Bnei Yisrael, speak to the children of Israel. Tzav es Bnei Yisrael, command the children of Israel. That doesn't say speak to the people of Lebanon, or the people of Egypt. Speak to Israel. God has this treasure, His own Torah, His own will and wisdom, and it's all centered around what those people should do or not do. And that is for me utmost important, God says. Do you need any greater validation than knowing that God is expecting you to do something for Him, or is considering your action by asking you not to do something as if your action makes the difference? Yes, it makes the difference. The same idea of counting. Sometimes a person walks around and he says, who am I? What am I? I'm a garnished, I'm a double garnished, right? Down on yourself. And you look for encouragement, something to lift you up. Just think about the fact that from the billions of people in the world, you were chosen that the Torah should be written to you and be expected from you. Isn't that enough for inspiration? You're looking what to be proud of? Be proud of the fact that God wants for you to keep His Torah. Whether you keep it or not is one discussion. But at least walk around happy. Asher, Bachar, Banu, Mikol, Ami, Benosan, Lanu, Esther, Rosoi, Baruch, Ato, Hashem, Nois and Ateo. The blessing that we say when we get called up to the Torah. Sometimes people get called up to the Torah. They start before I even have a chance to hear, to turn my head. They already said the blessing. But, hello, what are you doing? You know what kind of blessing it is? Say it. Asher, Bachar, Banu. You picked me from all nations and you gave us a Torah. You were counted on. It comes Shavuos, the Talmud says, you have to spend Shavuos, a part of the day you must eat and drink to express the joy of being given this day. Talmud says Rabbi Yosef, a great Talmudic sage, put a special order to his family. I want a calf, a young calf prepared from a Yom Tov meal. They looked at him. Since when is Rabbi Yosef getting involved in mixing in the matters of the kitchen? Whether it's a calf. I can't imagine how my wife would look if me, which I am not Rabbi Yosef, a simple person who enjoys food, but will come and say, Mrs. Farkash, I want this Yom Tov, make me this type of schnitzel. Or a delicacy, she would look and say, oh, you're starting to lose it. My husband, he suddenly wants this and he wants that. He asks for duck and he's asking for kachka and for tongue. What am I? That's not the guy I married. What happened to him? Rabbi Yosef was asking for a special delicacy. And when they looked at him as if, what's going on? He responded and he said, the day that God gave us the Torah, if not for today, I would have just been a Joe in the market. That was his words. Kama Yosef Ika Beshuka. There are many Joes in the market. The opportunity to be involved in God's Torah, in wisdom, this happened on Shavuot. I want to honor it. I want to celebrate. I want my body to be happy. So get me, I guess he read somewhere that a young calf is very tasty meat. So make me that. That's Rabbi Yosef. I always mention to you, it says in Shulchan Aruch in Jewish law, that when it comes on Shavuot, you can't hold yourself back from eating. You can't say, I want to fast. Will make me happy. not to eat today. No. You have to eat to show that you are happy and you enjoy the fact that God gave you the Torah. You are content. What do we say now? Prayers every holiday. We finish Baruch Atah Hashem, Okay LaKadosh. The three first blessings is the generic three blessings that we say every day, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, Saturday, holidays. We always say the same first three blessings. You have to keep a book in your hands to know what's going to follow that third blessing. Friday night we have one text, Shabbos day we have another text, during the week we have a fourth text, Rosh Hashanah we have a fifth text. What happens on a holiday like Shavuot? You finish Akei LaKadosh, the next word is Ata vechartanu mikolo amim mo'afta oisanu veratzita banu. You have chosen us from all nations. You loved us, you want us, and this is what the holiday celebrates. First thing, before I'm going into any other discussion, Ata vechartanu. This is what Shavuos is. It says in Shulchan Aruch that every morning when a person before Shema, in the blessing of before Shema, when you say these words, when you say the words right before Shema, and you say the words Ubanu bacharto mikol am v'loshen, and you have chosen us from all different nations, you have to think about and remember that you were given the Torah. You have to think about Shavuot. That's codified in Jewish law. So I want to take this opportunity to first go over the program of this coming holiday Shavuot, which is this year starting on Saturday night, Sunday and Monday. So Saturday night the custom is to learn. If you look on this flyer, there's a mistake here. Candle lighting is not 8:39, it is 9:39, 9:34, an hour later. After you light candles and you have your Yom Tov meal, you're invited to come back to learn. We will learn from midnight to dawn. Dawn this year is about 3:17 a.m. Not so bad.